Hello everyone, I'm Cole from the Kingdom. Welcome to this bonus episode of Dungeons & Dragon Age The Wycome Conspiracy. As usual, I have Crimson Wolf, Darth Shadie, Dirthalen, and Jordan from Exalted March.
Yo.
Jordan, I keep
Hello, everyone.
hesitating on your name because I want to say The Exalted March, but I know your channel's name is just Exalted March. And it frustrates me.
I think I don't know what my branding is. I think it is the Exalted March sometimes, and then it's Exalted March other times.
Yeah.
I'm very bad at branding, so
Go with B because that's more exclusive. Like
It's
yeah,
true.
yeah,
the Exalted March.
Yeah.
that's right.
Because there's the Exalted Marches in the lore, and then there's the
Oh,
Exalted.
of course.
Yeah, exactly.
While
It
we're, on
really
the,
makes all the difference.
while we're on the subject of having the in the name, you know what really bothers me is in the Inquisition Characters select, when you're selecting your party,
Mm-hmm.
the Iron Bull's character card just says Iron Bull, and I'm like, even in game, that's not right.
Oh yeah,
I-
terrible.
Surely you could mod that. That probably is not hard to mod.
I'm sure, but it bothers me. All right,
Mhm.
so
You can't mod on console.
yeah,
Well, I guess that's fair. Yeah.
True.
all right. So this is just kind of a retrospective on the campaign. We're going to talk about what we loved, what we didn't go so well, what we wanted to do but couldn't. And so I guess I'm going to start us off with some plots we didn't get to. I think the biggest one is I had a whole backstory for when you guys were in the sewers, why there were so many rooms that seemingly just had random stuff in it, and it was like people were living down there. The whole backstory was that, Wycombe was more or less destroyed in the Fourth Blight. So when they kind of rebuilt the city, well, they needed,
Oh, it was like a fallback.
it was a
area.
fallout shelter so that
Oh.
everybody could go down there. And also, the sewers were very extensive, so that if there was like a tsunami or a hurricane or just something that would cause a flood, they could quickly flush the canals.
I picture these like the catacombs in Paris.
Well, it's not exactly a tomb, but I guess it could be at some point in the future.
Are you? Okay. Are you trying to say that at one point there was a possibility that all of Wycombe would have gone underneath as like a backup thing, and then also it would have flooded the place and we drown everybody?
That wasn't. Are you saying would I do that in the story? No.
Okay. I didn't know if that was like, hey, do you just want to like kill all of Wycombe?
Oh, that would have
At
been
that
amazing.
point?
It would have been a dark Wycombe conspiracy.
Was there an opportunity for us to drown everybody that was in the in there?
That's true.
Yeah, well, no, because if you'll recall, there were some giant doors that you couldn't get past. That was specifically to prevent that was to like ward off areas that were flooded from places where people would be living.
Okay.
So, there was, yeah, I just put a lot of thought into that.
See,
and I'm sad you guys didn't.
Well, unfortunately, you talk about all that, and when my mind went, I just thought we had stumbled into the base of the spiders, which it was, and that was just like their living area, and there's just like a lot of spiders, and they just live here underground because why
Right.
not? Like I just thought they had made this. I didn't know there was like
Yeah.
a whole.
Well, that's the deal with the spiders was they could, because so much of the city had this underground pre-built living area, the spiders could easily pick up and move their base whenever somebody went down to try to find them.
Okay. I guess I just never thought to question that.
Yeah.
I felt like there was something going on when we were there. I just didn't. I think by the time we were getting out, it was like we got what we needed for the main part of the story, and we were going to bolt. But there was some part of me when we were there where I thought, "There's way more here than what we're exploring."
And that's
Turns out
also,
that
I
was
think,
right.
like a problem with doing this in a recording because and not in like a critical role setting, but specifically us, because we have 2 hours and we can't go over that.
Yeah.
You know, we have time, and that's kind of why I think the ending was like a little bit rushed, because like we were at the 2 hour mark, and like, okay, we gotta wrap this up, guys.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, and there was a lot going on down there in the sewers also, between the stabbing and the darts and the questioning and trying to figure out where we needed to go and everything. So it was a lot for us to keep track of. And then we couldn't get through the doors, so we thought, okay, there's nothing left to do because we can't get through those doors. We didn't think of searching for doors we could go through.
I think you explored most of the rooms. You just, yeah, I don't
didn't
know.
ask any questions.
You didn't really ask any questions, yeah.
Yeah.
The other thing I really wanted to add that, things just didn't work out that I couldn't do this. Wycombe is the revelry capital of Thedas, whatever that means. And so I wanted to have like some kind of event where just like a big parade or just a big party. We started this back in mid 2021. I wanted to do something for Halloween. I wanted to have like an All Souls
Oh.
Day or like a Day of the Dead type situation.
Uh-huh.
Oh, that would have been cool.
But it didn't work out with the. I mean, all in all, the campaign was like what 3 days.
Yeah, I think in like real campaign time, it was
Yeah.
not that long.
Yeah. Wow, did we start this really back in?
Yeah.
Have we been doing it this
Yeah.
long? That's
Right,
crazy.
Yeah.
We missed a lot of weeks.
Yeah.
We did, yeah.
Parade would have been cool because I would immediately think like, oh, I very good opportunity to assassinate people in a parade.
And I had like this whole thing planned of like Thora pretending to be normal, and I really wanted to pull that out, and that would have been
Oh.
great.
That would have been great.
Like I had like a whole like not spiel, but like I was gonna like Thora acting normal is like what that weird salesperson in customer service sounds like. And I was in customer service for a couple of years, so I was just gonna like
Oh,
pull
no.
out all of that pain and anguish from Bed Bath and Beyond.
That would have been amazing.
How about not? Because that would have been a nightmare for me since I worked in Gap, so no thank you.
Yeah, no, yeah. So I really wanted to do that. I just never found a way to throw it in there.
What else did you guys want to have with your characters that you didn't get to do?
Who wants to go first? Because I'm sure we all have a little.
Here you go.
You said me go?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Give me like 20 seconds to like cough my lungs out, and then we'll be good.
Oh no. Be
I
okay,
somehow
Caitie.
got sick again. The toddlers, man, they just like.
Germ dispensers.
Yeah, and like we haven't fucking gone anywhere. What? Where is she getting it from? I don't know.
Just
Anyway.
manifesting them.
Yeah, really. Okay, so Thora. Well, I think Thora and Wanderer are I think are linked in a way. Like we never even touched on our backstory at all. Did we even? I think it did come up in the campaign that we were part of the Inquisition secretly, but I don't technically think that you guys, your characters, knew that.
No, we didn't. Y'all never disclosed that.
No,
to
my
us.
character didn't know that.
Yeah, it just like never really. I kind of wanted it to be like a bigger thing, but it just like never was a reason to get the Inquisition. I think at one point I asked like to send like a raven or something, like, do you know anyone about this guy? But like because the campaign was like 3 days in game time, and probably by the time it got cleared up, I finally got that letter back. So yeah, we were. Jordan, would you like to talk about how our characters met in the circle? Because that's kind of a lot of your backstory.
Yeah, if I can remember. No, I mean, it's like, you're right. The Inquisition thing kind of amounted to nothing. And I don't really know why, but it just never seemed like a good time to spring, hey, we're on, like, what was it, were we actually going to do with that? But the backstory, my backstory that I wanted to do kind of just naturally ended up meshing with Caitie's, in that I wanted Henry/Wanderer to have been someone who was training to be a Templar, but had basically left because he had gotten into a fight with a superior officer and inadvertently killed them. right? So like his character is sort of this person who wants to be the prototypical hero, kind of knight in shining armor, but he messed up basically, and so now he ran off to try and redeem himself, find himself, what have you. And then Caitie and I talked about like, well, what if the reason why he got into that altercation, I think it was to defend Thora, right? That's what we had come up with.
Yeah, Thora and a couple other Tranquil because at least
Tranquil.
I wanted. Sorry, what?
It came out. I thought I heard Twanquil.
My nose is pretty stuffy, so maybe.
Twanquil.
Look, it's Tranquil from now on, okay?
Yeah, no. So I guess I kind of wanted. I think Cole, didn't you specifically ask me to be from Kirkwall? I think so.
Yes, I did, because I wanted somebody with a connection to the attack in Lowtown.
Yeah. So I actually there's a whole story on why Thor is tranquil to begin with in the meta, but we'll get there in a second. But to finish this point, so my backstory, sort of, was Thora was from Kirkwall and saw that, and so the Tranquil, when like the uprising with the Circle were about to be murdered by his superior officer, and then he stepped in like, no, they're just Tranquil, literally, what the fuck are they gonna do? And so he saved us, and so he just like took the Tranquil out of Kirkwall, and then from there we kind of wandered around, and he was protecting us, and then we got picked up by the Inquisition from there, and that's how we kind of got together. And I think that like Thora didn't know what to do with herself, but like she went along with the Inquisition and probably studying with Halisere, whatever her fucking name is. um, and I think Wander probably just signed on with like what you were protecting the Tranquil. I think that's what we came up with or something like that during the Inquisition. Is that right?
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah, and so like we just like kept on traveling together, and like it was just a good partnership. I very specifically wanted our like the Thora and Henry's relationship to mirror our own, like a professional relationship with like, you know, friendship, obviously, of, you know, Tranquil, whatever, because like I think when you're doing D&D, especially since we're not like, this is really my first time doing it on recording, I wanted something that matched like how I would normally talk to Jordan, because I'm not a great actor.
Sure, yeah.
And like, you know, not knowing Shadie or Crimson Wolf's character very well, because I don't know them very well. So like, kind of matching with that. So like, if for anyone out there who for some reason had canons like something romantic or whatever, no, I honestly think of Thora as his secretary.
I kind of got the impression of like your relationship was like in Mage Kid, or like how it was very like professional and everything. That's kind of like what I got from here. That's the similarity I got from y'all.
Yeah, that's exactly what I was aiming for. Like, just like, you know, it at the closest maybe like a brother sister type of thing, but like no, we're just really good coworkers. And
that's it. I started to think of it more as like Thora was Henry's boss, not in a bad way, because I feel like Thora just got smarter and smarter, and I don't want to say that Wanderer got dumber and dumber, but like I didn't want, like, if I was making a character that was trying to be more like me, it would be like more analytical, talks more, you know, kind of tries to problem solve, and I kind of didn't want to do that. I wanted to make a character that wasn't talking all the time or trying to like make decisions or investigate. And so I was just like, well, what would Henry do? He would try to make himself useful, but not by talking, so mainly by hitting things. But I didn't want him to be completely dumb, just sort of mildly naive.
Yeah.
One of the recurring comments from the show was just how much more savage Thora got as
Yeah,
it
that's
went
right.
on.
Yeah.
Much less tranquil.
Okay, so
She cured her tranquility by becoming savage.
The demon connected her to her old personality.
oh god, no. Okay, so like the headcanon that never left my head until this moment was that Thora suffered from really bad anxiety before being tranquil or whatever, and so like she was just so anxious, and it like her magic would hurt her and stuff like that, so they're like, she can't fucking do it, guys. And so she volunteered to be made tranquil, and like so she wanted this, and that's why she never wanted the cure, because like she thinks she works better as a tranquil. And I kind of liked the whole conversation of like, you know, is it worth it to like lose all your emotions for like the stability of your mind? You know, like kind of like that conversation of, although we never fucking got anywhere close to that. And so that's kind of why she never got cured. And then on top of that, I also had a layer of like, I wanted her to be from like a wholesome family. I didn't want like a weird broken family thing. So I kind of imagined like when she was made tranquil, her mother being like, okay, I didn't really want this for you because you're my child and I want the best for you. And if I can give you one order because you're tranquil and you take orders, take care of yourself and take no shit. And like that was her mom's best way to protect herself, and Thora like took that to heart because like she knows her mom has the best out for her. She's like, okay, I'm gonna take no shit. And so Thora like over time just, and maybe also part of this was like I had my own kind of shit going on in the background we're gonna gloss over. And then also I was playing Mass Effect at the time, and so Thora just kind of became an evil AI.
That's awesome.
Oh, that's good.
And it like it was a mix of I didn't want her to be that cutthroat, at the same time just where I was, it just kind of happened, and that it just I don't know, it just happened. I didn't mean it to happen, and Thora is now like the bloodthirsty tranquil who will look you cold in the eyes as she stabs you and goes, thank you, that was the easier option.
Yeah. You know, with the anxiety thing, you bring up an interesting idea. Do you guys think, like, with Thora as an example, the tranquil, just because they're like cut off from their emotions, do they still feel that anxiety? Because it's just like a chemical thing in your brain, right?
Well, that's actually what I was about to say, because I thought it would be a good way to actually have a conversation with a tranquil and see like how they actually think. Because in my mind, I'm thinking if you're cut from emotions, then how much your view is actually you. That's kind of a thing I kind of wanted to kind of think it would be a good thing to actually talk with a tranquil about. So that would have been a great topic to point out. But I don't. If you don't have anxiety or if you're cut off from emotions, do you still feel it? I would think not.
Yeah, same.
I guess I was thinking about there's like that one line in Asunder where tranquility is described, where he talks about like walking through a dream or whatever, when like you don't know what's going to happen next and you're just kind of focusing on the now, and like there's kind of no future. And I'm paraphrasing, so I'm a little bit wrong, I know. But like I guess with that in mind, anxiety, at least like how I've seen it in the people in my loved ones, like they really worry about the future and stuff like that. And so like if there is no future and you're not thinking about a future, how could you have anxiety over it? You know, like that's kind of where I was coming from. But like there's 100 different ways I could be wrong.
Yeah, no, I mean, yeah, that could make sense. I don't know. But speaking of tranquil, one thing I forgot about, I'm looking over my old notes here. I had you meet, I forget if it was, I think you met 2 tranquil characters.
I did, yeah.
I had this idea where you would try to get information out of the tranquil, but their they would default to a response like, that is not information you require. And you couldn't make persuasion or intimidation rolls. You had to give them a logical reason to tell you the information.
Are you talking like the tranquil, like the first DAO, where they just gave you like a robotic response, and that was it.
Yeah, so that was gonna be something I had written down, but just didn't get to.
One more Thora thing, and then I'll shut up.
Okay.
But, okay, so I just want to tell the story of how Thora became tranquil in the meta. So like when I was creating a character, I knew that I needed to play a background that would know a lot of the lore, because I know I can't handle myself and not shut up about Dragon Age lore. So originally I was going to play a Chantry Scholar, and then I realized, you know what? Maybe I should just shut up entirely, because I know I'm going to overbear everyone and talk too much, which did end up happening because Thora just ended up talking too much as a tranquil, which was funny. So my original pitch as a character, Nicole, was that I was going to play a chanter who could only talk in the chant of light.
Oh God.
Oh, that would have been
Hold
so
up.
funny.
I imagine you like the sister who just messes up the chant every now and again, throwing random stuff. I now wish that was a thing.
Yeah, that was my original pitch to Cole, and then Cole's like, "Okay, please, no, I need you to be normal for a second." So he was the one that suggested I be a tranquil. I'm like, okay, I can roll with that.
Cole, how
So-
well did that go towards the end now?
Well, I thought it would be way too hard to, because D&D is a very talking game, and this was an investigation. You were gonna have to talk to a lot of people.
Yeah, and I guess my thinking was I didn't want to be the overbearing one talking all the time, and so me not being able to talk would force everyone else to talk.
Yeah.
That was my thinking. I don't know.
Yeah, she said she just wanted to play a very unique character, so I suggested a tranquil, you know.
And I actually really
That
like
works.
Thora. I've grown to really like her. So
Still,
good
though,
suggestion.
like, how epic would that have been if it was Thora, like, dropping down into the arena, the tournament arena, finding some liturgical passage that basically just translates to "Get the fuck out of the way, bitches!" Like,
And she
I
shall know
would-
no fear of death.
yeah, exactly that.
I was about to say, what kind of light verses that I want to know? That's something we translate to "Get out the way, bitches."
Really got to know your chant.
Yeah.
Oh God. So yeah, that was maybe
Yeah.
one day if we ever do this again, I'll bring back that character concept.
Yeah.
But
Oh, that would be fun.
Someone else is gonna
All
have to DM though. I'm not doing this
Yeah.
again.
all right, who's next?
Well, I guess Tamron has a lot in common with Thora in that you like to stab people a lot. So
That's true. We were stabbing buddies, kind of.
I did not plan for that, honestly. But just think about Tamron, because again, I'm like Kate, I'm not very good with role playing because I'm not very outspoken most of the time. So even like the last campaign we did, I don't particularly know how to role play. So like this is only the second time I've done D&D. So I try to stick more to a character that's more like me because I think that's a lot more natural. So a lot more like somewhat more reserved and everything, and will speak up when needed. But with Cameron specifically, I wanted him to kind of again take embodiment of like who I am as and everything. So quiet, outspoken, but at the same time, that's the reason I played an elf, because he's supposed to be from Taventer and and was enslaved and everything. And I didn't want him to have any anger towards mages. I didn't want him to be pretty much against anybody. I want him to be more just okay with freedom and everything. That's the point of view I wanted to take with Tamron. The fact that he became very stabby is probably more saying something about my own personality rather than anything. Because I always end up becoming very stabby, and I don't know why.
well, I made some very hateable characters.
Well, I got more upset when I had to stab the woman at the end. I was like, I didn't want to do that, and I don't know why I chose to do it.
I am totally understanding because the exact same thing happened to me. I didn't think I was going to torture an NPC in this game, but here we are.
I enjoyed it. One of my favorite moments was when Tamron got the rage potion or the dart or whatever and was just trying to stab the fuck out of everything.
Okay. That's
I
very...
That was on me.
I loved the contrast between Vervaine and Tamron, where Tamron was like all stabby, Vervaine was like, "This is all wonderful," and then he
Yes.
wanted to stab Vervaine because she was annoying the heck out of him, and she was just, "Oh, this is you showing how much you appreciate me as a friend," type of gesture, because the poisons were so different, and I was just having so much fun with that.
I could tell you were having a lot of fun.
I'm happy I got the rage one, because I'm being honest, I don't know how to play like very bubbly and happy. I'm
Yeah.
like, I would not know how to pull that off.
Yeah.
So I've been very hard.
The contrast, I loved the contrast in that moment.
For the drugging fiasco, I think you asked at the time, but I don't know if you ever got an answer of like why these were the drugs they put in the traps. The answer was they weren't meant to kill people; they were meant to deter them from going on. To just keep them
Making
away.
somebody
keep
wait,
them
one
away
drug
from-
to make somebody extremely angry was supposed to deter them from going on.
Well, I mean, I don't know.
That's a good point, actually.
For all the for the drugs that you guys could have taken, I listed I rolled for the effects. I had a positive effect, a negative effect, and a neutral effect. And looking through some of these now, I'm really wishing I had just chosen instead of rolled, because one of these is you become fearful of mundane things, such as doors.
Okay.
That was a negative. And in between, it was you have a spontaneous urge to steal stuff, or you
Okay.
become neurotic and speak anything that comes to mind.
Okay.
Like Thora all the time, basically.
I mean, I kind of wish I would got the fear one, because I would have played this more like Dean from Supernatural when he was afraid of like a cat, and I probably would have played that
That would
one.
have been good.
So that would have been real.
Well, Vervaine, you haven't gone yet on backstory. So what's up? Tell me the goods.
So this was the first D&D I've ever done. And so the reason I chose an Orlesian is because in terms of like the accent, and it just feels familiar because I'm from Quebec. So I felt more comfortable with that. And while I do have acting background, I'm not very good at improvisation. So I was like, okay, this is going to be like kind of improv. So I kind of planned, a bit of the backstory, just a bit of the personality. We touched a bit on the Vervaine knowing Madame de Fer, or knowing Vivienne.
Oh, yeah.
And just briefly, but like in my mind, it was, she was at Wycome. She knew Vivienne. They had worked together for a time. And so Vivienne was a contact in the Inquisition. And so I would help her whenever she needed help. And so after she joined the Inquisition, she would keep in touch. And so we would go on, not excursions, but I would go on missions with her from time to time. So that was my link to the Inquisition. And I had made Vervaine neutral good. So she follows the law mostly, but it's mages first. And so she would do anything to help a fellow mage. And, she's very warm towards the people for whom she cares, but towards her enemies who pose a risk to her friends or to other mages, she'll unleash her power.
Mm-hmm.
And one of the things that in my mind, I was like, oh, we could have explored that more, was once Cole introduced Pierre, then the whole, what's the backstory between Vervaine and Pierre, and then it kind of, so then I realized, like, yes, mages first, but she broke into a restaurant for this guy. And then he calls her Vivi, and then I have the urge to call him Pee-Pee. And so they have baby names for each other. So I'm like, there's got to be a flirtmance going on here, And so it would have been interesting to not, while not putting too much emphasis on it, just to explore a little bit further what that relationship could have been. What history do they have? How long have they known each other? And why is Vervaine so willing to do all these things for this person,
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, you did, like, Pierre was missing, and you're like, we're fucking finding Pierre right now. I don't care what the fuck's going on. I'm finding my pee-pee.
Bad choice of words.
No, that was what I meant.
and then when we encounter him, like, she slaps him because she's upset, but then she just wants to hug him because now she's happy that she found him. And so I just headcanon that she pays off his debt, she gives him a little kiss on the cheek, and then holding hands, they walk back to the circle. Sure doesn't say. I'm keeping it fluffy for it to be PG, but like, there can be a whole, fun little backstory with Vervaine and Pierre, where like this is the moment where they realize that, okay, I more than care about this person, and we're like, okay, let's go talk about this.
That's sweet. That makes a lot of sense on hindsight, because I remember like at the time when you're breaking into the Golden Corral, I'm like, what the fuck is happening?
Yeah. That was
I
out of left
know.
field.
I just
It's one of those
went.
things. Yeah, you just
I just
ham
went
on
with it. I just went with the urge that popped into my head, and thinking back on it, like it just makes so much more sense to think that it's because this person is secretly in love with that other person that she's so willing to do all this.
Yeah, I can get behind that.
Yeah.
So, question as well. I mean, for Shadie, like myself, this is the first time I've ever played D&D, right? First time I've ever been a part of a campaign. So, question is like, what was your expectation versus how it turned out? Like, compare those two. And I guess, did you like it as your first D&D?
I loved it. I had so much fun. I was so nervous at the beginning because I have an anxiety disorder. So, I mean, I can get on camera and stuff, but I haven't done improv in years. I haven't been on stage in like 20 years. So, it's I was really nervous and self-conscious at the beginning, and the first few sessions you probably noticed that I was adjusting, and I was, I had a few slip ups, sometimes I'd talk over you guys, or I'd blurt out lore that I know that Vervaine's not supposed to know. So like, okay, so it's learning curve. But then once I really got into the character, really got to know your characters, we had established a dynamic, relationship between all of us, a dynamic, then I felt that it flowed a lot more. And honestly, I did not know what to expect. I was just really thrilled to be part of the team, and I was just hoping that I wouldn't make a complete goof of myself. And it just went beyond any expectations. I had so much fun. I learned so much doing this, and actually it actually gave me a lot of confidence, in the sense of I started doing short streams on my channel because
Yeah.
I knew that I could do that now because I had done this, like it unlocked like a reassurance to my anxiety type thing.
Oh, that's
Right,
great.
that's great. Yeah.
Yeah.
What about you, Jordan?
I was also nervous, and that's that was interesting for me. Like before we did the first one, I was like, "Holy crap, I'm kind of nervous," and I don't get nervous podcasting. I don't get nervous streaming.
We've also
I
been
think,
doing it for a while, though.
yeah, I mean, I've been doing it for a while, but this is something where it's like, well, we're playing a game, and so I think the things that made me nervous were like not knowing the rules, actually, which never came up really, not knowing the rules and trying to do something that was completely stupid, or role playing and improvising in a way that was just super cringe. But it was a lot of fun. Like it was honestly a lot of fun.
Embrace the cringe. That's all you got.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's kind of what it ended up being in a lot of spaces. So I enjoyed the heck out of it. It just makes me want to try other, playing D&D more in different settings, maybe more traditional settings and things like that. But I think I'm almost surprised how much I enjoyed it.
I will say is like oh, go on.
I couldn't tell that you had never done this. Like, to me, you guys are all pros.
Well, to me, you guys are all pros too, because I don't know any better. So like everyone did. Cole, oh yeah, you're the best DM I've ever had.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah.
I think we talked about. Am I the one with the most D&D experience? I don't know.
I
Probably.
think
Because
so.
between you or Cole at this
Yeah.
point.
I've been in 3 different groups, and I've been playing since college. Now that's not playing straight. That's maybe like 4 years total.
Mhm.
What about you? I don't know.
Let's see. I would have started Don, when did we meet?
That came up earlier too. I'm like, it's been a while. I
It's
actually
been
can't
a-
remember.
I want to say 20. Damn, I want to say it was 2016. Like it was.
Was it 2016? Oh
I
no.
think so. I think it was shortly after Trespasser.
Oh
Oh
yeah.
my God,
Oh,
Trespasser was forever. By
We're
BioWare.
not.
Whoa.
Move
Wait.
on. Move on.
Okay.
I can't handle this. I
Okay.
can't handle this.
Was it 2016? Good lord.
Yeah. So yeah, I would have started playing 2018 or so.
Mm-hmm.
And God, I want to say, all right, I want to say three or four groups,
Okay. And then like ever since then, like the whole time.
including
then
this
like.
one. Including this one. Yeah.
So you're either like above me or about equal.
Yeah, I think we're
Well,
about equal.
Do you only play online or have you played in person before?
I did one session in person.
Okay. So when I was in college, I used to play in person with a group, and we met for 6 months, and then like we graduated, and then we turned into online, and I've only been doing online. I would say in a group with your friends is so much more fun because you're just taking the piss out of it for
Yeah.
like 4 hours straight, and it's like you and your closest buddies. There's probably alcohol and some snacks involved, and it's a good time all around. So like Jordan, if you and your buddies want to go do this, it's a great time. Even if like all of you are just making fun of it. Like the very first session of D&D that I played, I rolled in with a character that was a little bit try-hardy because that's what I do. And I had like this whole dramatic backstory. And like the first episode, I pissed on someone to get them off of fire, like out of like fire or whatever. So like,
Okay.
Nice.
yeah, and like I was playing a woman, so that was like kind of difficult. So like,
Yeah, no, me and my friends are literally trying to figure out how to put it together. I don't, with the people who are interested, it's going to be across a couple different cities, so it might be like 2 of us in person, another 2 in a different place, so there might be some virtual to it, but we're definitely trying to do that.
No, it's a lot of fun, especially like when you're really close with people and like the inside jokes that came in, like the. I'm not gonna go in D&D war stories because D&D war stories are like your dreams. No one gives a shit. But like, but yeah, it's a lot of fun. So like, if you guys like this, definitely like pick up some people close to you and strong arm them into it. So
Playing online has advantages, but it also has
It
some
does.
disadvantages. Like combat was, in this campaign.
yeah, it's
I
even like in person though it can be sticky because like we never had figurines because we were poor college
Right.
kids. We weren't gonna like go out and do that.
But you can
Like
at least,
we
like-
still use Roll20.
you can just you can use Roll20. It's easier to use Roll20 in person, or it's just easier to use the computer because everyone's sitting there. Everyone's can look at it. You don't have to worry. Oh, I don't know. Can you see what I'm showing?
Yeah. Like, oh, are you
Um,
logged in? Do you have an account?
Yeah.
You're like, yeah, type of thing.
So I entertain the idea of setting up a webcam and pointing it at a physical table.
Oh wow,
What
yeah.
Yeah, and
Okay.
we talked about doing webcams, but there were just too many hurdles with all that. So
Yeah.
Fine. Because there were days, when some of us were a little bit under the weather and
Right.
stuff. So
yeah, so it
Hi.
worked.
we had there were some sessions I was in my pajamas.
Oh my!
Oh,
I was always in my.
I was always in my pajamas. Of course.
So Cole, question for you, or a couple of questions for you, I guess around combat as well. And this is not a criticism. Why did we not fight more? Do you feel like you wanted us to fight more and we just didn't fight, or were you? Because I feel like there was like relatively low amount of combat overall.
There were 2 reasons. The one was was very technical. It's hard to do combat without you guys being able to see where all the characters are. It's a lot for me to keep track of. And the other reason was I really just wanted this to be focused on an investigation and unraveling the
Yeah.
conspiracy rather than going out and bonking some heads.
It is called Wycome conspiracy after all.
Right.
And I do know there was at least one instance where I think I even said we should have more fights, and then my character did. I don't remember what it was or what episode it was, but it was one where you totally expected us to get into a fight, and somehow we all managed to not fight. So I guess it's
Yeah.
our fault.
I think that was
Huh?
the deal for the runes.
Oh,
I think
okay.
so.
Yeah, I
think
think that
so,
would. I
yeah.
think that was it.
Yeah. I will say that like it, the problem with there's playing D&D and then there's playing D&D for an audience. And we are playing D&D for an audience. And combat can get really fucking boring really fast.
Yeah. I
I
tried
was say
to
because I think character interactions are better and funnier at
right.
this point.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Mhm.
I tried to give some of the enemies unique traits.
Mhm.
And I think that helped a little bit. But again, there just wasn't a lot of room for combat because, yeah, like you said, Caitie, it gets boring. It takes a while.
It takes every iteration of D&D I've ever played, and I've played a couple of them. It's like, okay, we're going to have this really quick battle and it's going to take 4 hours.
Mhm.
Oh,
I read something that was like D&D is the game where walking for 5 hours takes 5 minutes, and a 5 minute fight takes 5 hours.
Yeah, that's
yeah.
yeah.
Oh, okay, yeah.
so cool. Real quick question for you for this one. So, given the fact that you have Caitie and Jordan's character are connected to Inquisition, and Shadie had her connection with Vivian, was there supposed to be a connection with Inquisitor members overall, just for story wise? Because I also know for Tamron was supposed to be he was connected to Fenris.
There were a few instances where I wanted like named characters to have like a short cameo. Like I briefly actually considered having Meryl show up, representing some of the city elves.
Oh.
As far as Inquisition characters, uh, I don't think so because like the idea behind Thora and Wanderer were like they were the Inquisition members assigned to this task. So
See, I honestly thought cuz like I was like I forget when I it got in my head that Vervaine was connected to Vivian. I honestly thought that that was like you had because like you were telling us like, hey, you should do this with your not like in a overbearing way, but just like, hey, what if you did that? What if you did that? I thought you were like manipulating us, so like to for like interactions. So I think I remember at one point I asked like I was grilling Vervaine on how she knew Vivian because I honestly thought that because we were in the Inquisition, we would have had sort of had some close dealings with Vivian, or like we worked in the same thing. And if we questioned Vervaine, her story would fall apart, and she was actually faking it, and she wasn't like a circle mage, like it was gonna be something like that for some reason. So like I remember doing that, and then like Shadie started talking, and it was like, oh wait, actually this is legit. Never mind. There went that plot thread in my head.
any other questions on like on the campaign and the story?
Were there any characters you spent a lot of time on that we literally just did not meet, or were there any parts of the city that you spent a lot of time on that we just did not go to?
Now that you mention it, I had a bunch planned for the Violet stream. And I'm kind of glad you guys didn't go into it because it could have gotten like real erotic, and I wanted to avoid that.
Hey, can we talk about why you want to avoid erotic things and yet you put so much
Henry Cavill
time?
shirtless or
Yeah.
whatever.
Yeah.
Well, I didn't want things to get too this word I don't like that. I
Muddy?
don't like the word raunchy, but yeah, I didn't
Well,
want
you
it.
use horny.
I didn't want things.
Muddy?
That's not better, Caitie.
It's not
I
much.
know.
No, it's,
Explicit. How about that?
yeah, I
Yeah.
didn't want things to get explicit. I just wanted like the vibe because I wanted this. I based a lot of the city off Amsterdam, because I was thinking, okay, Canal City. I'm thinking it's Canal City because it's at the end of a river delta, and it's just like it's perfect for that. And revelry capital, and Amsterdam has a reputation, so yeah, that I really based it off Amsterdam. And so this was, supposed to be the equivalent of the red light district. I liked the idea of a restaurant that had like a more erotic Hooters, I guess. That's kind of what I was going for there. Just because I thought it was
just called a strip club.
well, no, because there was. Oh wait, no, there was the brothel that you guys went to. Yeah, I didn't get to do much with that.
And
I just thought it would
like,
be funny.
like, we're there in that restaurant, Cole wants everyone to keep it decent. And then there's Vervaine saying, like, we can make it worth his time. And, like, I had really, like, in my head, I was like, we can make it worth his time, like, pay him or, an exchange of sorts. I was so not thinking like, in that moment, I was so not thinking that way. And then I realized, wait, we are in the red light district. Whoops.
So Cole, here's the thing. This is like my second time doing this with you, and both times you expressed that you don't like voicing these type of characters and everything, but you keep putting people in these situations to where you have to voice them. So I'm like,
Yeah, well,
I know it'll be funny, but still.
well, what I mean, yeah, that's my vision clashing into reality.
Because I'm like, there's always that one person in the group who will literally take it to that level of, okay, well, now this is not what I want.
Yeah.
I mean, it would be weird if everybody was just like a chaste Androstian, like everybody's good, every single
Yeah.
character.
Like some of the other locations you could have gone to, Veronica's Pendulum was going to be a swingers club. Yeah.
Okay.
Or the option where we strip instead of fight, like what would that have looked like,
Henry just
Roll
kills
for
himself. Like he's like, I'm not doing this.
So yeah, that was a swingers club. There was a very simple dance club that you guys didn't go to.
Mm-hmm.
The Climax Theater.
Okay.
That was good.
That was
that is so good.
that was straight up people doing it on stage. I'm very glad you guys didn't go in there.
Why was
Yeah,
you
why
doing
would you
that?
Yeah, why
Totally should have gone
Because-
there.
I wrote it because I wanted you guys to have options, and I didn't want to.
This is what I mean.
You don't need to do that to yourself, my man.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah, this is what I mean. You don't want to voice, but you keep creating these spots like, oh, yeah, if you mention it, we've gone inside of it.
I'm so glad you didn't tell us what it was either, because Thora would have just run right in there just for the
course.
shits and
well,
giggles.
I don't know about Thora, but me like possessing Thora in a moment of weakness would have totally done that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, look, like with everything Vervaine did drooling over that white wyvern who looked like Adam Driver, she would have run on stage and started touching those
Oh,
people
God.
or
Oh.
something. Like she would have been like, I need to look at this up close.
I need to see the penetration.
Okay, so what were some
Yeah.
other highlights from the campaign for you guys?
The final battle I thought was pretty fun. I
Yeah.
thought the way we took out that Kunari and got the Golem to
Crush 'em,
do
yeah.
our work for us, that was pretty great.
That,
Yeah.
that was teamwork. Everyone throwing ideas in. I was like, oh yeah, I can do that. And we at that point, like it felt like every session, our level of, knowing each other's characters and each other's abilities, we got more and more intuitive. And so by that final fight, we just kind of all instinctively knew what all of us could be doing. And so we would just put all our best aspects together to culminate to this epic battle.
Yeah, it's a good way of putting it.
Yeah, well said. It's like a real Avengers Justice League moment.
Yeah.
And that was interesting combat, right? Because it wasn't just attacks; it was spells, it was movement, it was using the environment. It was
Right.
really good.
Yeah, I wanted
Yeah,
you
that
guys
was-
to be able to think outside the box because the Golem, had a lot of health and a high armor class because of that metal armor, so it was going to be difficult to even damage it. So I wanted you guys to have to think around it and use the environment, and I'm glad you did. I
Yeah.
was a little disappointed you didn't figure out how to make the elevator rise while the Golem's arm was still in, because then it would have gone up and snapped the Golem's arm off.
Oh, see, I was worried about it, like Garlem's arm actually breaking the elevator. And then
Yeah.
Yeah, one of
Because I
those
thought about
things.
that too. I was like, oh, no, it's not gonna move
Yeah.
then.
Yeah, elevators are
Yeah.
like known to be weak bitches. Like
Right, but it's a dwarven elevator, so
Exactly.
I mean,
Also, Golem made by dwarves too, so I'm like, I'm not sure which one wins.
Yeah.
yeah,
Unstoppable force meets immovable object.
Yeah, yeah.
All right.
Anyone else got anything you want to discuss? That's a no. Okay.
All
Well,
right.
there might be moments that'll come like later, like in a month, or like, oh yeah, I remember that part. But there were a lot of moments that I really enjoyed. That's why.
This was a lot of fun. I'll just say that it was a lot of fun. First time
Mhm.
playing D&D. Interesting to do that in a stream setting, like you guys mentioned. But I had a fun time doing it.
Mhm.
Yeah, this was good.
Yeah, thank you all for joining, and just taking the time to do this. I'm happy with how it turned out. Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. So thank you to all you viewers out there who stuck with the series. I know it was difficult at times, because I said a lot and I didn't know what to do, but I tried. And I got there.
It happens.
Yeah.
DMing's hard work. There's a lot of stuff like I've done it only once, and there's like a billion things you have to balance. And then there's also like your expectation, and then like what we fuck around and
Yeah.
do.
Yeah, there was a lot of that.
Yeah, so actually, thank you to Cole for doing this because I know,
Yeah.
especially first time players, like I know I struggled in the beginning with like in a video game, it's very clear when you reach a point where there's no content there, right? Because video games are very obvious about that. I had to adjust myself in realizing, oh, that's not where we should go to enjoy the things that Cole has done. So
Yeah.
probably hard to wrangle some of us in the beginning there, but bravo to you, Cole, for doing the work.
Thank you.
Yeah, and Cole, you wrote a lot. The story branched out a lot, and you wrote a lot of details. And you described the rooms very, very methodically, and so I really admire that ability to be able to that what you were able to do, so that we could really see in our minds all the same thing.
There were
It's also just that ability for you to think on your feet while we're acting. Also, let us keep like true to our characters. That's also like just amazing, like just from a story writing point from you.
Thank you guys so much. That means a lot to me.
Letting Thora continue on with that bullshit when she runs into the arena. I'm so glad you let that go. Like I'm so glad you let that keep going and didn't try and like put us back on track there.
Yeah, no, that's what I was kind of hoping for the whole time. I want you guys to be able to get creative and be creative.
I will ask though, legitimately, if I was not supposed to just like hop on down there and act like a clown, what was I supposed to do? Because he could not have beaten that monster on his own.
I figure you could have subtly helped him in other ways. I mean, I didn't have anything specific in mind other than
Alright.
get the helmet off his head.
If we lost the tournament, we would have just found another way to get to Jasper Ramoska, right?
Yeah,
Presumably.
Katja
Probably.
would have come to you, and you guys would have figured out another way into the vault.
Yeah.
But yeah. All right.
Bravo team. Well done, everyone.
Bravo,
Yep.
everybody.
Yay.
Yeah. Thank you all for joining me. Thank you to all the viewers. We'll see you later. Bye.
Goodbye.
Thanks, everybody. Bye.
Bye.